Hello, District 25. We're back. 25 with Tech 25 coming straight to you from Dutton, the administrative offices in Arlington Heights. I'm Tim Higgins, Secretary for District 25's Tech Department, joined by
Chris Fano, Director of Technology.
And I'm Andrew Benton, Data and Systems Specialist.
And again, we join you once again here for another awesome season 2, for a whole another year of technology professional development. And so today we're kind of going to go rapid fire at you. We're just going to kind of wipe off the cobwebs and just remind you about all the kind of neat tools that we have going in Google, in Drive, in Gmail, and so forth. And so it's going to go fast. You're probably going to miss stuff if you're, would consider yourself a novice user. But the nice thing is that all of these Tech 25 shows are recorded and then put onto our YouTube page right after. An interesting thing is all of season 1 is there as well. So all of this professional development that we do can be found there. So before we get started into our little rapid fire, I also want to talk about just what else to look out for, because we want to provide all of you with professional development with all of this technology. There's a lot of stuff that we know is being thrown at you, that there is out in the world that is out for the taking, and we want to try to make it as easy as possible and as accessible as possible. So we have a couple different things, this show being one, but we're going to have video tutorials up on YouTube, and those are going to be based on questions that people send in. So we want everybody to send in, even if you think it's a little tiny question, send it in, because we'll make a little tutorial about it. We'll get it up and available somehow to answer those questions. If you have that question, more than likely somebody else does as well. But we'll be doing Twitter chats, we'll be doing Google Hangouts, we'll be doing the training grounds, which is actually a live in-person training that's set up based on what you're looking to find out about. So let us know about those. Let us know what you're interested in. Look out for the emails that will come from us from Tech25 at sd25.org. And so that is that. We're going to just get rolling on this right now. So I am going to share our screen, and we're just going to dive right into Google Drive. And so the main thing is we want everybody to use Chrome when using any of this Google stuff, whether it's Gmail, whether it's Drive, whether it's calendars. Use Chrome. Google's developed it. All these programs to work together. It works better when you're doing it in Chrome. So once you're signed into your account, and if you are an employee of the district, everybody has an account, and it will all look like this once you are signed in. You'll see a little icon, whether that's your picture if you set it. If you don't know how to set it, we're going to show you how to do that a little bit later. It might be a little blue icon, but this is where you would know that you're signed in. Right next to that, in the upper right-hand corner, is going to be our Google Apps menu. This is how you're going to find your way around through all of these different tools that we have available to you. And I'm going to head right into Drive. And what we're mostly going to talk about here very quickly is sort of the basics of organizing. As you can see in my Google Drive, which is just my storage space that's up on the internet, up on Google's computer somewhere, making it accessible from anywhere that I am, with a computer or mobile device, is all of the stuff that I've uploaded. Now we're in our Google Secretary training account, so there's not a huge amount of stuff. In my account, it goes on and on and on, so that's not a bad thing. Yours probably won't look as tidy as this, but we'd like to make it tidier with some of these tools. And the way that we create folders, which is our best portion of organization, is by clicking the red New button, selecting folder, and right off the bat you want to name it something. And right now we're just going to do training. It creates them, as we see, it highlights in blue and it gets added to the existing folders. The way that this is going to be laid out when you're in list view is that the folders are going to be at the top, any freestanding files at the bottom. And so we have training right here. Now, if we want to kind of organize it a little bit better, if you're a color coder, you can click on our 3 little dots, which is the More Actions button. Come on down to Change Color, and we can change it to whatever color we'd like for color coding and easier access. Back up in this More Actions, we can also rename if that name doesn't suit you. Another kind of neat little trick is if you put an underscore in front of whatever name, it will automatically bring that label up to the top. So our folder gets sent directly up to the top. From there, now that we have folders, we want to be able to get our documents that we might just have out on our computer loaded into Google Drive, for whether it's for storage, whether it's for sharing to work on it later. We're going to want to upload. One of the easiest ways to do that is to simply, and I'm going to open up some space over here. We're looking at on our computer's desktop, and I have an image here that I want to add over to my Google Drive. I can easily just click and drag it. It shows us that there's something incoming. In the bottom corner, it will show that it has been uploaded, and now we see our Arlington Heights logo here listed amongst our other files. Another way to upload is by clicking on the New button and selecting File Upload. What happens there is we get a little Finder window, which lets me choose anything in whatever folder on my computer that I'd like, and I can just upload it straight into Google Drive. Similar process, we see our progress happen down here at the bottom in our little sort of record of what we've uploaded, and then it gets added here directly right into our Google Drive. And as we can see out on the desktop, this document originally started off as a Word document. When I uploaded it, it automatically converted it into a Google document so that I can start, typing whatever I would like into this document. And from time to time, you're going to want to take things out of Google Drive, and you're going to want to download it back to your computer. Or one of the other nice features is, again, you can access your files anywhere that you are. If you're logged into a computer somewhere else and somebody wants a file that you've been working on, you can easily download it back down by either clicking on File and choosing Download As. When we choose Download As, it gives us a couple different file formats where we can actually turn it back into a Word document to be used in Word on whatever computer. If it's a document that somebody only needs to use for reference purposes, we can change it into a PDF. And we'll see that as soon as we choose that, it asks where we want to save it to and what we want to save it as. I'm going to select the desktop, and I'm going to save it. And we see that here on our desktop, it pops up for us to be able to open it, access it, and reference it right from our computer. The other way we can access or download a document is if we click and highlight the file that we'd like to pull out of here, we can, again, click our three little dots, our More Actions button, and down at the bottom of that menu is our download option. That will once again ask us where we want to put it, what we want to call it, and it will send it to that place. So it's very easy to import, to upload, download documents into and out of Google Drive, making life a little bit more fluid and efficient. And it's kind of really getting rid of our need for the staff servers, which everybody can't necessarily access from home. You can always access Google Drive as long as you have an internet connection and some sort of device to access it on. So these tools and these little strategies definitely make all of your files, all of the people's who are sharing things with you, that much more accessible, that much easier to access. One other neat thing that I'm going to talk about, and this is actually a perfect opportunity to sign up for a training grounds if you'd like to set up your computer with this option. But there is an option where we can actually download a version of Google Drive to our computer where it will work just like the Finder does. And we can, instead of having to do this upload and download option into and out of Google Drive, we'd be able to actually just treat files as if they were just on our computer, and this application does the trading for us. So up here in our little settings option, there's this button to download Drive, which will download a small application to your computer. It shows up here on your desktop and looks just like this. You'll install it, and what happens is we notice up on the menu bar, we get a little symbol that is the Google Drive symbol that will let you sign in. And so we'll let you basically sign into your Google account on your Mac computer, which will, the benefit that you'll get from this is if we open a Finder window, we now have actually our Google Drive right here in Finder. We notice that if we did a side-by-side comparison, everything that is on our Google Drive is also in this folder on our desktop. And what it does is it automatically and constantly updates. So if we drag a a document into that folder here, we'll see we got the blue little arrows, and it will upload it to our Google Drive. And here it is. It just reappeared over here in Google Drive as a Word document this time. And this is definitely great for storage purposes. If we open it, we can actually open then as a Google Doc, and it will make it editable right from there. So again, if you want to set that up on your computer, having some trouble doing it on your own, Training Grounds is the perfect opportunity for that. And with that, I'm going to hand the keyboard over to Chris Fano, who is going to walk us through how to share documents and all the different options that go along with that.
Well, great, thank you. Yes, I think sharing is one of the most important parts that we benefit from by using Google Apps, but I think it's also one of the ones that can be the least explored. And so kind of working from where Tim was going, any one of these documents and really your folders can be shared with very specific people in very specific ways to make sure that you can manage both the security and the privacy of your information while doing your collaboration. So for example, if I just wanted to take one of these documents here, this going to work pros and cons. And when I open it up, you have your normal navigations we've talked about in many episodes. But one thing we really want to just walk through quickly are all the different sharing options that you have in this sharing button right in the upper right-hand corner. So just by putting my mouse over it, I can see right now that this document is private only to me. It's in my drive. I'm the only one who has access to it. I have not shared this, and many of your documents may stay this way. But if you want to be able to change it, when you click on that, you're going to be shown a menu that has a lot of different options once you really get into it. So the first thing is talking about how you want it to be shared. Right now, what Google has done is they've made this a very simple menu, and you can just start by entering in the email addresses or the names of people who you want to be able to share this document with. So for example, if I wanted to share with myself, I could begin to type my name, select it, continuing to add people, and then I can set the level of permission that I want them to have on this particular document. So in this case, I can give someone full editing rights, meaning that they can change it along with me. They can comment on it only, or they can only view it. These are important settings to consider, especially if you're sharing things with either other staff members or students. What do you want them to be able to do with your document? Then you can add in a note here, and then you can send a notification via email or just share it with them. And this is the most basic way of sharing. There's really a lot more that you could do, and there's a lot more that you should be aware of in terms of what your options are. So down in the right-hand corner is an advanced button. We're going to look at that quickly. When I click on this, I get a whole host of other options in here that I can work with. So number one, on the top, you have a link to share. Okay, so for the people who you've allowed this to be shared with, you can use this link to put in a web page, to put in an email. You can embed it in another document if you want to. This is the actual link to this Google Doc. So that you can use in various ways. Now we have another menu here for who has access. This is the owner, so that's our account that we have. And we have it private so far, and I would be invited eventually. But what I want to draw your attention to is this button here, or this link here that says change. And now you've got a whole number of different options of ways in which you could share this. Anything from being extremely public on the web, where anybody can see it and they don't require a sign-in, to very specific people who are just in our organization and have the link. I'm not going to go through every one of these, but there are two links here about sharing and about security settings that are really important and walk you through what level of privacy and security each one of these provides you. The flip side is, if you have it too restrictive and you try to share out the link, people will come back and say that they can't access it. So again, that is under this change here. So just for example, we'll just say anyone at Arlington Heights can find and access this. Anyone can view it. We can hit save. And now you can see that who has access has now been updated, and we'd be able to share that link to anybody who has a district account. On the bottom, you can see there are some other options in here, but the big ones are inviting people via email and setting the general security for this particular document. So I'm going to put myself in there. And you'll see as soon as I do, it lists me as who has access, and I can again change this for each individual person or the group as we already went through. So with that being done, what I want to show you now is, let's say you're working on your document, you've shared it with a bunch of people, but they don't know that you've been working on it, or you want them to act about it. So under File, there are two very helpful links or options that you have that are listed toward the bottom called email collaborators or email as an attachment. Email collaborators just gives you the option of everybody who this is shared with directly will be listed under this recipients list. And you can simply say, I updated section 1, please put your input, and so on. And then you'd be able to select exactly who you wanted to email that to, and it provides a link back to the document. So this is really helpful for those times where you're updating or you're going back and forth, or maybe somebody hasn't seen something for a year. You can give them a quick notification right from within the document itself, immediately to the only people who have access to it. Email as attachment, again, is just a different way to share. So you can take this and you can select your file format that you'd like, be able to put in the recipient, and then you'd be able to directly send this with a message to somebody to say, here's what we've provided, or here's the latest version of X, please post it on the web. So again, those two email links are very helpful in terms of sharing and updating the people who you need to get this information out to. All right, one of the things that I want to share that I think is a tip, and I'm going to give Mr. Dave Keller over at Thomas all the credit for this, is accessing documents that you need to find on a regular basis without having to always go to Drive. So this is just a real quick tip. This is one of our fun little, get off the agenda items. But let's say this was a document that I need to reference several times over the course of the year. It may be the bus schedule or door duty, or it's a parent handbook that I reference all the time. Instead of having to fish through this large list and be able to search terms, even though it works well, one thing that I can do is I could simply add this as a bookmark, okay? So let's just say this was called handbook, just as an example. Now I have this link, again, in whatever browser. We do recommend using Chrome. And I could put all of these in a folder and I can organize them however I want. But wherever I'm at, whenever I'm browsing, if I'm like, oh yeah, where's that handbook again? I can simply click on this link and it will bring me back to the document or the sheet or the presentation that I need to reference on a regular basis. So again, it's just a nice little way to help, again, organize and manage those things that you're using all the time. The last piece that I want to talk about before we get into Gmail is a very quick one. It's brand new. If your fingers are tired, you're sick of typing, under Tools, when you're using Chrome, there's a new option that says voice typing. This gives you the opportunity to be able to speak and be able to voice dictate your documents in real time. When you click on the microphone, and then of course you have to allow it to give permission, but it will begin to, again, take your voice in and you'll be able to dictate straight into the document itself. And with a good microphone and a quiet room, this actually has turned out to be a very time efficient and useful way to be able to input data, period. So again, this is only in Chrome right now, but it's a great new feature that you should try out, both in Docs and possibly one day in Gmail. And that's what we're going to talk about next with Mr. Andrew Benton.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Season 2. So Gmail, we're going to go to Gmail. One moment, please. We're not going to teach you about how to handle. We're not going to teach you about. Sorry, where am I going? Sorry about that. Just go to that little grid. Is always how you jump around the different apps in Google. We're not going to tell you about inbox and how to compose an email and all that. I mean, we all know how to do that. What we do want to do in the short time we have left is just show you some of the I don't know, the neat little things that Gmail happens to have that you might not know or that you might find very helpful. So one of them being, and a lot of what I'm going to talk about is in settings. So if you find a little gear and you go to settings, the first thing I'm going to talk about is labels. This looks like a lot here, but basically labels is labels equals folders. So if you're used to any other email application, we would consider them folders. Google calls them labels. None of us are sure why, but that's basically what we're dealing with here. So consider this system folders with your typicals, drafts, email, all of that. There's obviously a show or hide for all of those system. This is what we're talking about right over here on the left. And then there are categories. You may find that these will never impact you, and so you'll hide all of those. Again, I'm in settings and labels. And then if we get down to, again, circles, this may be something that you don't want to be in your way. So if we hide those, or let's say we do just want friends, that just pops back up over here. So down here is where you would basically be creating your own labels, or as I'm saying, folders. I'm just going to create this one called Really Big Project. We see that it was created over here. So if I'm in my inbox, and I'm just clicking on inbox here, if I select these 4 items and I consider them emails that need to be stored in that Really Big Project folder or label, I will click on this little folder icon with the drop down. It says move to, and I'll click Really Big Project. I click Really Big Projects. It tells you that those 4 have been moved, and here are the 4 sitting in Really Big Project. So again, just really quick review. If we're in settings and we're in labels, I was all the way at the bottom and I just created a new label. I'll just create another one real quick. You see that it pops up over here. And so then you would be able to move emails into that. So that is labels. And then there is the general tab. The general tab under settings has a couple things that you may be interested in. One is this conversation view. So conversation view, that for those that don't know, if you turn it on, let's say that there's a particular email that has had 10 replies from various people. Conversation view off would have those emails very much separated in your inbox. Conversation view on would have all those emails basically wrapped up into one basic line item, one email. So you'll see a little parentheses here with the 10, and that 10 are the 10 emails. So if I were to click on it, the conversation mode, sorry, this is just an individual email. We don't have any grouped emails in our little demo account here. But basically, if I click on, if I have conversation mode off, there would be 10 different emails about that same subject. If it's on, this email right here would have all 10 replies. I click on it and scrolling all the way down would be those 10. So that is conversation mode. There is the signature. We advise a couple different things. It's just really helpful. We can say for personal experience here in Tech 25 that we might just get an email from a teacher who says, I need help with. We can tell you that we've always found it very, very helpful to have some sort of, your name, your school, and all of that. I'm not saying do it just for us, but I am saying do it for everybody that you're responding to. If you create a signature, that every email that you send out will have that signature. Another thing that's actually kind of nice is a lot of people are doing it now that we've moved over to the Gmail platform and we're all on it, is to have a little picture. So there's Bubbles the Tech Turtle. There's the idea of having a picture and a signature. There's another new thing that we just learned about today, both Tim and I. You guys may find it. It's in this long list of settings, and it's called Undo Send. Undo Send allows you to do a certain number of seconds, and then when you go to send it, I didn't submit. Always remember to save changes at the bottom of this. If I go to compose an email, I'll send one to myself. If you look up here, your message has been sent. You can say undo. You have that 20 seconds to say, oops, I did not mean to say send to that. I want to rethink it. It just pops right back in. If you wait more than 20 seconds, you're going to lose that opportunity. So that's something we just learned today that's actually pretty cool. Sorry, one more thing, and we're a little bit close to our finishing time. Sorry, this is in settings in general. There's the signature. We talked about the picture, but then here's the vacation responder. So if you do happen to be out for a while, if you come into, again, settings in general, you come down here, you talk about your email, the days, here are the days you're going to be out. It's sort of automatic, which is nice, so you don't have to remember to undo it. You say vacation responder on, put in your messages in your subject, and when somebody emails you, they find out that you're going to be out for a little bit. So those are some of the pieces that, well, we all know you guys know how to use email. That is something that those are the things that we thought would be helpful to you in terms of the Gmail application itself.
Cool. Thank you.
Yes.
So that brings us to the end of our first 25 minutes back this year for the 15-16 school year. Hope that, whoa. There we are. Hope they kind of walked away. We kind of are looking to format this year where every kind of user will be able to get something out of this, whether it's, you know, the beginners who are just not super comfortable using all of this stuff, all the way up to the regular users to hopefully learn something that they didn't know before. And like we said before, these videos are going to be available on YouTube after the broadcast is over. They get automatically uploaded to my Tim Higgins Secretary YouTube page, and you can just actually go on YouTube and search 25 with Tech 25 or Tim Higgins Tech 25, some combination of those keywords, and it will usually bring you to the right place. I will also be sending a link out via email.
I think it's
later.
It's trending.
I think yes, it will be. It usually goes at the top of the internet, right between Taylor Swift and Justin Bieber, shortly after we are done here. And again, this whole kind of professional development tech community only grows and builds when we get your feedback, when we hear what your questions are, what your ideas are. We are more than happy to help you through to find a solution to any problems you run into, or help you to find that end goal of something cool that you want to do in your classroom. So we hope to hear from you soon, and we're looking forward to a nice full season of 25 with Tech 25s. We know Andrew likes hanging out here a little bit longer,
I really do.
waiting out till the middle of rush hour instead of getting out at the beginning of it.
One of my favorite days of the week.
Yeah, very good. So thank you, everybody, and we will see you next time.
Take care.